Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is a smokescreen to further further destabilize the world economy. I just left it at a smokescreen to further, and I put the ... as in poetry, inside joke. But pretty much the full title would be a smokescreen to further destabilize the economy. And pretty much that's what you see happening right now over there in Ukraine with Russia, invading, the Ukrainian or the Ukrainian people or that country. Because I was watching it last night, going through the different news outlets, and pretty much, the response of Putin, was, I guess, as an offensive or defensive, however it was said. And pretty much he did say last night that he didn't plan on occupying, Ukraine. But the American media and the different outlets that are controlled by the Zionists, they pretty much, embellishing on it. And pretty much what it is a smokescreen, because very first thing that happened in Ukraine was, the banks shut down. People were pretty much not allowed to, get their assets, out of the banks. They were what's the word I'm looking for? Rationed, so to speak, out, for lack of better words. And then the stock markets of the world pretty much started dropping. A lot of they started dropping. So pretty much what it's doing is further destabilizing the world economy. Because this is exactly what they plan on doing. Now, I looked up the word smokescreen. It says a cloud of smoke created to conceal military operations, but it also means a ruse, which is something that somebody makes up. A ruse designed to disguise someone's real intentions or activities. And that brings to mind the movie Wag the Dog. Because the dog wags the tail, but in this case, they're wagging the dog. It's like the tail wagging the dog, because what they're doing is, if you watch the movie, Dustin Hoffman, which played the producer, and then the Robert De Niro, who played the guy that was pretty much coming up with the narrative, because what they have is think tanks, and this guy created a whole scenario based off of a particular war going on in a particular part of the world. Because there was a scandal either against a senator or mayor or the president or something like that. And to cover it up, they created this fictitious war. And they show you in this movie how they do that, through these different movie sets and, pretty much Esau's magic, Esau's art magic. So what did they do? They created a smokescreen to hide the real intentions. But the real intentions is to further destabilize the currencies of the world, in the stock market, so that they can introduce the MOTB, because the MOTB is the major prophecy right now unfolding in order to move on to the next phase of the Most High's movie. A movie has different scenes, and the different build-ups. So in order for it to really go to the next stage, the first scene that's playing out has to be fully, finished in order for it to come. But then you also have wars and rumors of wars. You have skirmishes. You might have little shit that breaks out here and there, and then it'll quell, because this is just the build-up for the turn-up. So the next word I looked up was, because the title is a smokescreen to further destabilize the economy. So the word destabilize means upset the stability of, cause unrest in. So the stability of the world economy is very shaky, especially right now. I'm not sure what the stock market is doing right now. I should have checked, because I know that that this is causing an unrest in the markets. So it's to see. It remains to be seen what's going to go down. Today being February 24th, 2022, the year of the turn up. And notice that this came on the 23rd, February 23rd, just less than a week before Biden gives his address, and see right here, it says just before he gives his speech on the 1st, which is Tuesday coming up. And then you also have the so-called convoy of truckers that's supposed to be coming down to Washington, D.C. So, this is all playing out in prophecy, unrest of the people, pretty much the economies of the world, not doing so well. How the inhabitants of Maktesh, because a lot of people out there that are very rich, super rich, or well, not all, but some people out there, I'll say the middle class, that's why the middle class is getting phased out. A lot of their assets were pretty much different stocks. They really didn't hold anything. It was just computer entries. That's why when the stock market crashes, people lose everything, because they really have nothing, technically. So if you don't have anything tangible, in your hand, in your possession of wealth, of value, if the thing that you invested in goes belly up, guess what? You got shit. You ain't got nothing. That's why that cryptocurrency, I was never really a big fan of it, because cryptocurrency, you're investing into something that you have nothing tangible to hold on to. So let's say they decide to shut the thing down tomorrow, then who's getting paid? You don't hold anything. Holding a spot on a computer through key entries doesn't guarantee you to have any assets. So here it says Yahoo Finance's a stock market news live updates. Dow plunges 800 points as Russian attack on Ukraine rolls global markets. And that's what they do. This is why I'm not sure who made this statement. If a brother knows on the comment board, he could post it. There's someone that said you want to buy when blood is flowing in the streets. I believe that might have been in the movie Wall Street, but I could be wrong. It could have been one of those international bankers or whatever the case may be. But that's when you want to buy, because why? Everything is cheap, because people panic and take their assets out of the markets. And this is what causes destabilization. Or should I say it causes a decrease, and people, so they won't lose everything, they sell. And what happens? The international bankers come behind it and buy it for pennies on the dollar. Baron Rothschild, okay, the water, bro. If you could put the whole quote out for me, if you don't mind, that way, I could just read it. I believe it's either Nahum 1, it might be Zephaniah 1. Before I go to the next point, Zephaniah 1 and 11. How the inhabitants of Maktesh. Okay, here we go. Oh, it says the time, Baron Rothschild, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. Yep. And a couple of other brothers put it up. It says Baron Rothschild, an 18th century British nobleman and member of the Rothschild banking family, is credited with saying that the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. And Brother Kingdom Within also put it up. So the water. Well, that's what the scripture say, that since thou has not hated blood. So Zephaniah 1 and 11. How the inhabitants of Maktesh. Maktesh was a merchant city, where they did a lot of trade. And they traded in silver. It says, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. That's why you would go, especially port cities, where they will have large shipping ports. the ships would pull up, and then they would set up on land. They would set up their merchandise or their merch on land. And then people will come and buy their wares. That's where you get the whole idea of the agora, the marketplace. Because you would have people with ships coming from different places, and they would set up shops, they would set up tables, set up their merchandise, and make their money. And there was disputes settled there. If you had somebody owed you something, sometimes you would, take care of that right there. If you had a dispute with somebody, in the teachings of the scriptures will go on in these places, the marketplace. There was a lot of philosophies being traded back and forth in these marketplaces. So a lot was going on, So it says, how ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down. All they that bear silver are cut off, right? So this is pretty much what the Lord is doing. He's pretty much using Esau to destabilize these currencies, because the Heavenly Father is going to bring in the MOTB. So notice that the Spirit has had us saying how, they're pushing hard to collapse, this monetary system. Excuse me. And that's exactly what happened. So, although we get happy when we see Russia in the news and Israel in the news and China and America and all that, that right there was just a smoke and mirrors, or what they call, what Yahushua mentioned as rumors of wars. All right, so going back, so Wall Street stock market says Dow plunges 800 points as Russian attack on Ukraine rolls global markets. So they're using that to push this narrative, although last night Putin said himself, he said that they don't plan on occupying, Ukraine. You see? But they're pushing that because this is what they want. They need this war, or the false flag or smoke and mirror of this war to be able to further push their agenda forward, which is the total collapse of the old world economy to bring on board the new world economy, which will be a one world centralized currency. That's why they keep speaking about the CBDC, central bank digital currency, because everything will be centralized. It will be coming from one source, and there will only be a certain amount of individuals that are going to be that are going to benefit from that. Your cui bono, scenario. All right, and this is why the scriptures speak about pretty much them having a one world order. It speaks about no one, no matter how rich or how poor, if they're slaves, if they're freemen, nobody being able to buy or sell or do any type of business, because they're going to corner the market on the economy, and they're going to corner the market on everything. Because, hey, as Maya Angelou said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the laws. Because if you control the currency, what the old saying go? How does the old saying go? Money talks, bullshit walks. So if you control the currency, you control and manipulate everything else that goes around. So this system that they're putting in place, the MOTB system, is only going to be for those who participate. Read the scripture that the brother put up. Proverbs 22:16, he that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Yeah. Matter of fact, I was just thinking about Job. Job 20:20, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired, right? Because he set up his nest on high, as the scriptures say. But what happened? When he set up his nest on high, as the scriptures say, the Lord is going to bring him down, because the way he got it was not by right. Ecclesiasticus 21:8, he that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathereth himself stones for the tomb of his burial. Yeah, because it doesn't belong to you. Yep. Like the brother just put, I believe in New York, they saying the cyber attack is coming to further take down the system. Yeah, and it's all set up in that fashion, in that manner. Verse 9 from the same precept that the brother put up, Ecclesiasticus 21:9. The congregation of the wicked is like tow wrapped together, and the end of them is a flame of fire to destroy them. Yeah, it's going down. It's going down. It's going down. This is a quote from my Amschel Bauer. If my sons did not want wars, there would be none. Oh, I'm sorry. That was actually Amschel Bauer's wife, Gutel Schnapper. My Amschel Rothschild's wife. All right, my goodness, man, you brothers are killing it. Ecclesiastes 10:8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Sweet. That's so sweet. Job 20:23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So you got to remember that when they're about to fill their belly, that's when the Most High is going to bring that total devastation upon them, which is the destruction of their system. Because you could kill a devil, right? You know, somebody can kill somebody, and that, yeah, whatever, you get your satisfaction or whatever the case may be, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. But when you break somebody down systematically and take their goods, take their riches, totally humiliate them, that's worse than death. Death is easy, And that's what the Heavenly Father is going to do to Esau. He's going to systematically break them down and reduce them to the peasants that they're supposed to be. And he's going to reduce the other nations to the slaves that they're supposed to be and put them in their right place. Because all of these nations, beginning with Esau, are all out of pocket. They're all out of order. But it's all pursuant to prophecy because that's what the Lord wanted. So now let's go back. We read destabilize, which is upset the stability of, cause unrest in, and then you have the word smoke and mirrors, is the obscuring or embellishing of the truth of a situation with misleading or irrelevant information. Hence the movie Wag the Dog. And what was the reason to put for that disinformation? To take the focus off of the real issue. And the real issue is what? The economy. This is why when that whole shit went down and people found out about it, the banks, only allowed the Ukrainian people to get so much out. The European stock markets started doing bad. They started faltering. The Wall Street dropped 800 points. It's all about destroying the current economic system of this world to bring in the MOTB. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, baby. All right, so let's go from there to Isaiah 47. This is one of the precepts that had popped in my head earlier. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at the first verse. And then jump around a little bit. All right, Isaiah 47:1. Come down. Why? Because you're in a lofty position. I heard somebody say, I forgot who the person was. I don't know if they said this about Carl Schwab or one of them other Edomites out there. But pretty much they were saying that they amassed their wealth to like $200 billion, making them the richest person in the world. I said, what? The fuck out of here, man. You got trillionaires. You got multi-trillionaires. The international banking families, a lot of them are multi-trillionaires. The Rothschild themselves are probably worth now at least 600 trillion or more. At last count, it was either 500 or 550 trillion. So just imagine now after all this shit that went down. Because you got to remember, all of those different corporations around the world are owned by them. Everything you buy out there is being funneled through 5 different, major corporations. And they all belong to these international banking families. So for somebody to make a statement that somebody that has $200 billion is the richest person on the earth, obviously that person is a clown. Matter of fact, I was watching this thing that brother sent me last night. It was a live feed from this dude that appears to be an Edomite, and he was doing a live stream on the whole Ukrainian situation. Let's see if I can find it, just to give you the name of it. If I could find it, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it or not. Let's see. Boom, boom. Yeah, it was a live feed that was going on last night. Yeah, Blackstone Intelligence. Live Russia attacks Ukraine war. It's a little more than 4 hours long. And I was watching some of it last night, and a person in the comment board is who made that statement about the $200 billion person. Anyways, come down and sit in the dust. And you have to remember that when you're used to living like royalty, and you're pampered and you have everything at your disposal, you have no want for nothing. You don't have to do any type of hard work. You're living an easy life. And then come, the day after that, and you have nothing. Everything is stripped from you. You have to live like a pauper. You have to beg, like the parable of the unjust steward. What am I do? I can't work to beg. I am ashamed. So they're going to be. That's what the scriptures say. How ye rich men, for the miseries that shall come upon you. You have to really think about that. The movie The Game, we spoke about that the other day. The movie The Game with Michael Douglas. Right? You got to watch that. This guy was very rich. He had everything at his disposal. Here we go right here. He had everything at his disposal, the game. And then his brother played a trick on him, so to speak, for his birthday. But just the scenario of this man being rich, having pretty much a mansion, credit cards. I mean, he stayed at the top hotels, ate the best food, drank the best liquors or whatever. And then when he lost everything, he lost it. And this is what's going to happen to Esau. And you know what that did? That he went from being this pompous asshole to being humbled, to where he had to humble himself to beg. He had to go back to his, so-called quote unquote ex-wife and apologize for being an asshole, whatever the case was. But just the point is that riches come with pomp. There's a great pomposity that comes with having riches. It's very seldom that you'll have somebody that's rich, that's humble. And then he went from that to losing everything that forced him into humility. And this is what's coming for them bankers. Remember the movie Trading Places? You had my man, what's his name? I forgot the other guy's name. I forgot the first guy's name, but you had him and Morte. They were rich, and then they showed them in another movie that they was, after they lost everything, they were living as bums in cardboards with dirty ass clothes. Well, that's going to be the future of these international bankers. No, not Dan Aykroyd. There was the two brothers. One of them was Mortimer, the other one was Randy, Randolph and Mortimer, Randy and Morte. They went from being princes to being paupers. Let me see. Right, they were the Duke brothers. I don't think I'm gonna find it, but oh, here we go. Right there. See, this is them when they were, when they were up on top, when they were the Duke brothers up top, Randolph and Mortimer. And then this is when they lost everything. As you can see here, this is Randy right here. Sleeping on the ground outside. Here they go again over here. So on a small scale, this is exactly what's going to happen to these devils. They're going to go from this. See how the pompous look they got, and then look at the humiliation that they have when they brought down to that low state. That's another good movie you could watch. I forgot the other one. It's the one where they were rich. That was Trading Places. But the other one where they were bums, I forgot who. I don't know if that was one of them 48-hour movies or something else. But anyway, enough of the rant. Let's go to Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust. And that's exactly what Esau's going to do. They're going to come off of that high horse. They're going to come off of that equestrian, lifestyle that does not belong to them. And they're going to come back to living a peasant life that they're supposed to be living. It says, because they're just posers. O virgin daughter of Babylon. Why? Because America has not really been touched by a major war like these different other nations. When you had those world wars breaking out, America really wasn't touched by that. It was a Pearl Harbor. Come on, man. That bullshit. I'm talking about a major war fought on the soils of America. You see what happened to Europe, Germany, London. They got rocked, and they had to go back to building everything back up. America has never gone through that. That's why she's known as a virgin, because she has not been touched by that type of war. Okay, it was a scene from Coming to America. Okay, so it must have been at the end of the movie. It says, sit on the ground, there is no throne. Why? Because you're going to lose your prestigious position. This is why I said, let's go to Luke real quick. Luke 16. And 24. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me. This is the rich man. It's Esau. And send Lazarus, which Lazarus represents the Israelites. It says that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. In other words, slavery. In other words, tell him to have mercy. Because Esau is, a descendant of Abraham, through Isaac, but they're not going to receive any form of mercy. It says, thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. But Abraham said, son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things. Right, because they were living sumptuous. Right, we go up to the 19th verse. There was a certain rich man, Esau, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, because they had the best of everything, because that was the blessing that was given to them by Isaac, pursuant to the sword, which was the blessing, and then that's how they would live and pretty much get the entire planet. It says, and fared sumptuously every day. Right, they never have a bad day. Right, so we jump down to the 25th verse, and Abraham said, son, remember that thou in thy lifetime receivest thy good things, and likewise Lazarus evil things. Right, Jake is in the ghettos and the slums, on the res, catching all kind of hell. Right, it says, but now he is comforted, and thou art tormented. That's right, so you're going to be tormented, because the greatest torment is having a rich person be stripped of everything, of their titles, of their noble titles, of their crowns, of their castles, of everything, their estate, everything, and being reduced to slaves. That's total humiliation. That's why it says in Isaiah 14:4 that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? Yeah, because there's going to come a time where your persecutions are going to come to an end. Let's go real quick to Isaiah chapter 33 and 1. It says, woe to thee that spoilest. The word woe means destruction. And the word spoilest or spoil means to rob. And these devils have robbed the whole world. That's why they're going to be cut off. Habakkuk 2 and 8. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. You're going to be destroyed for this. Your whole system is going down for this, because you got everything, but you didn't get it in the right way. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. It says, I'm trying to find the other one. Right here. 12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. Right. So pretty much everything that you've done was evil. So now it says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealt treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, meaning when you come into the time of setting up your new world order, establishing yourself, finally have everything, finally have people where you want them at, total control over them, thou shalt be spoiled, because that's the time when you're going to be spoiled. Remember Randy and Morte and all their what you call it, and all their bumness. It says thou shalt be spoiled, and when thou shalt when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. And this is what's coming for you, the judgment of the Most High. And you are the main one on the top of that list, Esau, Edom. So going back to Isaiah 14, how have the golden city, I'm sorry, let me slow down. Slow it down, man, slow it down. It says, how have the oppressors ceased? The golden city ceased, right? Because the golden city is America. They were known as a beacon of light to the world. But also the golden city is an exactress of gold, because that's what they do. They exact gold. They set up a system based off of fees, and they set up a currency or money that's not backed by anything, which is pretty much robbing people of their labor, because they're not really receiving the proper payment for their labor. They're receiving pieces of paper. And that's how they're operating. So really, technically, the people that are working here in America are really being defrauded. That's why they have nothing. That's why they're always behind the 8 ball in most cases. Because you're working and your wage is based off of a credit system. Your wage is based off of debt-bearing notes. And you cannot pay a debt with a debt. Yep, fiat money. That's right, brother. Fiat money. You cannot pay a debt with a debt. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. Right. So now, as you're going down, Israel's coming up. The real Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. So Isaiah 47:1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right. You're not going to be pampered anymore. Matter of fact, let's look up these 2 words. Let's look up the word tender. The word is rock. Tender, soft, delicate, weak. Right. Like Yahushua said about when he said those that wear soft raiment are in king's palaces or something like that. Because they're royalty. They're pampered. It says tender, delicate of flesh, weak of heart. Yeah, because good times make weak men. Timid, and they're tender. So going back, and delicate. The word is igag. No, Ainag. Ainag. It says dainty, delicate, luxurious, which makes me think of Revelation chapter 18. And 14. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Because once you go down, it's over now. All right. Let's go to the word goodly. And the word goodly is lampros, because they was lamping hard. Right, it goes back to lampas, or lampara, which is a torch, a light, a lamp. Right, but it's down here, it goes shining, brilliant, clear, transparent, splendid, magnificent, splendid things, an example, luxurious or elegancies in dress or style. Like when you see somebody that's sharp, damn, you shining. You know, somebody that got the threads, their duds are just just immaculate. You know, and nothing is out of place. The shit is just stunning. You know? And then they look at him and say, damn, you shining, man. So these are the luxuries. Because they believe in luxuries. If they can't bring the world to receive them, they will receive them themselves. Inside joke. All right, so dainty, delicate, luxurious. So all of that, luxuriousness, you're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. Let's read this again. Let's read this verse again. Revelation 18:14, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Why? Because America is going to be totally destroyed. This has been the cash cow of the international bankers. This has been the catapult for their agenda of the New World Order. You know? But it's going to also be their destruction. So going back to Isaiah 47:2, take the millstone and grind meal, because now you're going to be forced into slavery, into work once you lose everything. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the river, because you're being exposed. The skirt has been lifted up. And they found out that Lady Liberty was nothing but a man. All right? It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, right? Your wickedness. Yea, thy shame shall be seen, because Yahushua is coming back to take you out of that position. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man, because he's coming back as an angelic power. Because when he came as a man 2,000 years ago, you put him up on a cross. And you did all manner of type of wickedness to him. But when he comes this time, he's coming in his angelic, glorious form to fuck you up. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms, right? Because you were the daughter of the Chaldeans. It says, for thou shalt no more be called what? The Lady of Kingdoms, which you go back to Revelation 18. Let's see. Right. Revelation 18:7. How much ye have glorified yourself and lived deliciously. Another one that goes with this is the 17th chapter. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Because they figure they got everything. They don't think they're ever going down. The inward thought is that the house shall continue forever. So going back to Isaiah 47:6, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And ever since Esau got here to this side of the world, since 1942, they've been putting hell on Jake. From the so-called Latin and Indian tribes, which they were all Indian tribes, so-called Indian tribes, to the so-called Negro tribes that they brought over to the side of the world in captivity. This whole movie is played out and planned out perfectly. There's no mistakes. There's no errors. Everything is just playing out perfectly. There's no glitches. There's nothing. Everything is going according to plan. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. See? So we're coming now to the latter end. While you was playing playing in that demonic playground, everything was like, wee, you was having fun. But now the playground is about to be closed because the playground is condemned. And the Most High is about to tear that playground apart. It says, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, and that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. Why? Because it's all going to happen, what? In 1 hour. Matter of fact, hold on. Revelation 18:10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment. I'm sorry, I started 9. And the kings, it's a lament for Babylon. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Why? Because America, her destiny is a destiny with fire. That's why the Apostle John referred to it as a lake burning with fire. Standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So that's all it's going to take. Let me see, prepare for a day. Revelation 9:5, and the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And that's talking about Esau. And that's why the river Euphrates in the Middle East, that area there, the Valley of Jehoshaphat, is a major key player in prophecy. So now let's go to the next one. Revelation 18:17. For in 1 hour so great riches has come to naught, and every shipmaster and all company in ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? Yeah, they're not going to be crying because of the Vatican would be destroyed, because ain't nobody getting rich off the Vatican. If anything, the Vatican is getting rich off of people. Verse 19, and they cast dust on their heads, a sign of mourning, and cried, weeping and wailing, not because they feel sorry for the hoe, but because they can't make no more dough. Saying, alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. All right, so let's look up this word costliness. Right, quick light. It says Timiotes comes from the root timios. It says preciousness, costliness, and abundance of costly things, metaphoric, worth, excellence. Right, because you got to remember that if you're making a product in your country for, let's say, 2 cents, and then it sells in America for $5, man, do you know how much of a percentage that is that you're making, even after your overhead and shipping costs and everything? You banking. So now just imagine that times 1,000,000. And that's why you see a lot of these Chinese spare rib products, that are being sent over here and sold. They're all over the place. And guess what? They're cheap. They when you buy them, they're cheap, $2, $3, $5. To them, it's costly because it only costs them maybe a cent or two or three to make, and whatever shipping costs, they have to pay. But the rest of that is straight up pocket money, so to speak. There's a term for it, but I can't think of it right now. So that's for the reason of a costliness. So going back to Isaiah 47:9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment. In one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in the perfection. They shall come upon thee in their perfection. Because the Most High has a time and chance for everything. The Most High has set everything in a particular measure. And that measure don't move until it's filled. And it's done in perfection. Not imperfection, but in perfection. Totally perfect. For the multitude of thy sorceries, and this is what it is. Because what's going on right now with this smoke and mirrors, or this smoke screen, that's nothing but sorcery. And that's why it says that when you scroll down in Revelation 18, it says, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. And they have that ability through what? Through the media, through their movies, through their entertainment. That's their great smoke and mirrors. It says, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Everything goes back to witchcraft. Even plantation Christianity is nothing but witchcraft, because they use this book that belongs to us with a term or a title, Christianity, which is placed upon the disciples first, the followers of Yahushua, Hamashiachim, and they spun it and put a spell on it and used it against Jake and bewitched Jake. Because Jake is bewitched. They're bewitched by the teachings of Esau. So when they say, is Christianity a white man's religion? Well, it depends on what Christianity you're talking about. Are you talking about, when it was first established under the disciples that followed Yahushua when they called them Christians? Or are you talking about the modern Renaissance plantation Christianity? You have to discern between the two. You have to, make sure that that you're saying and speaking about the right type of Christianity. So it says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Yeah, because you've been perverted. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Yeah, because you have a plan, an agenda, and your plan and agenda does not include the Most High. Your plan and agenda excludes the Most High, pushes the Most High out of the picture. Because you think you are the Most High. You think the Most High is with you. Or even further, you think you are the Most High. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries when thou hast labored, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, ever since you were established. Going back to, when you amassed your wealth, going back to the 13, 14, 1500s, 1600s during the time of the Renaissance period, all the way up until the inception of America, the beginnings of America, all the way up until today, 2022, the year of the turn up. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail, because you're not going to prevail. You've been deceived by these spirits, these demonic spirit guides, because everything went your way whenever you were prey to these demonic entities. You didn't understand that it's the Most High that allowed them to do that. They gave them that ability because they work for the Most High. Now your whole card has been revoked. If so be thou mayest be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. And that's why you have situations like this so-called war that they have going on. And where did that go? This so-called war that you have going on, that Okay, I must have got rid of it. That is used pretty much as a smoke and mirrors, a smoke screen to hide your true intentions. Because we looked up the word smoke screen, it says a ruse designed to disguise someone's real intentions or activities. And if you haven't seen this movie, I'm sorry, not that movie, the other movie. Wag the Dog, I suggest you go and watch it. Very good watching. Pretty much when you watch it now, seeing what's going on now, you'll get a better understanding of the movie now. So it says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Yeah, because your modern day witches and sorcerers, are not going to be able to save you from what's coming. They're not going to have answers because they're going to be darkened. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. Yeah, because America is going to be totally annihilated. But these international bankers, they're going to survive because they're going to be the first crop of slaves. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. Yeah, because they're gonna forsake you. They're gonna leave you. Salaka, give me 1 second. I knew this was coming. All right, Salaki for that. So let me just read this again. I got to get rolling, Isaiah 47:15. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. Right? 'Cause no one's going to be able to help you. And no one's going to be able to help you. And these nations, they're going to be forced to do what? Go back to their countries. Because that ride is going to be over. That making money ride is going to be over. It was good while it lasted, but it's going to be over. For some nations, they starting to wake up because, they see America pretty much falling apart, so they leaving. But you still have those that are vested or invested in America because they're still making money off of the whole. So with that, this has been a smoke screen to further destabilize the world economy. And that's what that whole Russia and Ukraine and Kiev and, Donbass or whatever, all those different places and shit that's going on. But eventually, those rumors of wars are going to escalate into an actual real war that they're not going to have power over because the Mosai is going to, as Elder Yashwamba says, he's going to snatch the remote control from them, and then the Mosai is going to change the channel on Esau. So with that, I pray that your brothers and your futures have been edified. To the next time I say shalom.